everything in me resisted selling. I'm a creative. I'm like, the fear of rejection, tick. Like, got that. So like everything in me was like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be whatever. But then I also was like, I also want to make money. And so I have to figure out, how do I sell in a way that feels authentic, in a way that doesn't feel like I'm losing my soul in the process. If you get 100% conversion rate, it's actually not good. It means that you need to increase your prices. It means that you're saying yes to everyone. So we actually need to chase the no's and be okay with getting no and welcome the no's. And I think people get really muddled when they think, oh, Ben's just naturally good at selling. Oh, he's naturally good at marketing. And it's like, no. You had to learn. At the end of the day, it is a skill, and it's a skill you can learn.
I don't think everyone needs a personal brand, but I think you can have an unfair competitive advantage if you embrace it. And like you 100%. Said, those like be authentic, show those, the weirdness stuff, like just be you.
The amount of people who come to a sales call with us and say, our sales team will ask, like, what made you reach out? And they will be like, oh, I saw Laura online and I just liked her vibe. And I'm like, what dis? Like, what does that mean? What does vibe mean? And I think so much that is unaccounted for in how we actually land clients is in that vibe.
Let's hear the story behind how you got started with creatives.
Yes. So I am a uni dropout. I went to uni a couple of times and would always just decide to not go to my classes and my lectures. And I was studying communication and journalism, and I went to a lecture. This was my final lecture that I ever went to in uni. And the guy was like, is journalism even a profession anymore? We don't know. Will you get a job when you finish here? We don't know. And I was like, looking around being like, what are we doing here? This is dumb. So I never went back. And I was making coffee. So I was a barista. I was working part-time as a barista. And then I was like, found myself starting this agency. I found myself doing social media for a couple of businesses. And then very quickly it turned into, okay, I now run an agency. And so I started this agency. I was 23. I was like living off like $400 a week and figuring out how to run a business. And so with that agency, within about 12 months, we'd hit six figures. And so I was like, okay, cool. This is okay. Like, this is for a uni dropout barista. Like, this is okay. This is pretty good. And so that was in 2017 when I started. And in 2020, I launched my very first course. And then in 2022, I launched a group coaching program, which is where I really figured out, okay, as a creative, when I started my business, I didn't know the business side. I was like, if there's like two sides of the scales, there's like an artist on one side, an entrepreneur on the other side. I was like really lent heavily into the artist. I was creative. Everything I was doing was very intuitive. I was designing, taking photos, writing copy, designing websites, all the things. And the entrepreneur side was the side that I didn't get. I didn't understand how to sell. I didn't understand how to market my business, how to price my services, how to onboard clients, how to handle team, all of that stuff I didn't know. And so very quickly I realized I've got to learn the skills of being an entrepreneur. And I think for so many creatives, they stay stuck in this artist mode and they never learn the skills of being an entrepreneur. And so I was like, I've got to learn how to do this. And so I was very bullish with like learning how to sell, learning how to lead, learning how to market, learning how to communicate, all of those things I had to learn. And so after running an agency and a couple of agencies and running them and them becoming quite successful, I was like, you know what? I really want to help other creatives like me who struggle with the business side, and I want to help them to really level up on this entrepreneur side. And so that's when I started the Next Level Club, which is what I do now. And and now we've been able to coach thousands of creatives in our program, and we're helping graphic designers, web designers, agency owners, photographers, coaches. We're helping them to make more money. We're helping them to have more freedom and build this scalable business that for a lot of them, they started it as a hobby, similar to me. They kind of were like, I'm good at this thing, I'll start it as a hobby. And now they're building this business that is so much bigger than they ever thought was possible.
the first agency you started, I just want to rewind back. I love this super cool niche. I love it. So first agency, you're making coffee. How did you acquire these customers?
Yes. So my first quote unquote client was actually a coffee roaster. And so I was working for them. I was employed by them, and I started working in marketing for them. And so this is when social media was like just becoming a tool that businesses used. And so I started doing that. Their Instagram took off. It totally exploded. They had all of these clients coming to them because they were a wholesale coffee company. All these clients coming to them being like, we love your social media. We love your content. We want to work with you. And so they were like, oh man, this marketing and social media thing's pretty legit. And then I had other cafes coming to me. And then I had financial advisors coming to me, wineries, Pilates studios being like, can you help me with my social media? And so that's really where it all started. And I had one client, he's a friend of mine, and he launched a money podcast. And he said, Laura, I want to work with you, but you've got to quit your job. Because he was like, he just really wanted me to get out of side hustle mode and was like, you got to go all in on your business. I'll work with you. What do I need to pay you to get you to quit your job? And so I was like, all right, I'm doing it. And that's when I really went all in on the agency.
And was this quit the coffee job?
Quit the coffee job.
Yeah.
Like burn the boats essentially and just
Got
go
it.
all in on running my own business, not doing side hustle things.
When you say you were a creative, what were you specifically like? 'Cause you used to sing, right? Like what were you doing?
Yeah. So I think if I weren't running this business, I think I would have been a songwriter. Like I was in a, again, this feels like another life, but I was in a family band with my 3 sisters.
That's cool.
We played country folk music. We toured. We did all this stuff. And so I think that's probably where I actually started getting into designing websites and graphics and figuring stuff out because I kind of had to. As part of the band, I was like, well, I'll be the person who looks after the website, and realized, oh, I'm actually pretty good at design. I'm pretty good at this. And so it was, pardon me. And so for me, it was like I'd always been a bit of a slashy, someone who could do all the things. I could take photos, I could write copy, I could do a bit of everything. And I always thought that was a negative. I always like looked at people who like specialized in something, who were like knew exactly what they wanted to do. And I was 20, 21 being like, I don't know what to do. I've got all these things that I'm like good at, but I always viewed it as a negative, being a generalist rather than a specialist. And so it was really interesting when social media became a thing. It was like, oh, actually this kind of blends all of these things that I love. I love writing copy. I love marketing. I love taking photos, and I love design. And so it kind of felt like this perfect fit for my skill set.
Yeah. When you took on that coffee roasters socials and it blew up.
Yeah.
Like what specific? Do you remember what you specifically did? Like that to change it, that started capturing attention.
I think the big things, and again, this would have been in 2015, 2016. Yeah. So this was the glory days of Instagram. But I think the big thing was I because I loved writing and I loved telling stories, and I still do that, I figured out how to infuse a sense of humor into a coffee company and talk about this thing that for me, I really like romanticized coffee because I love coffee. But it was like, this coffee is something that every single person most people enjoy a coffee every single day, and they they look forward to their morning coffee. Some people go to bed at night, myself, and think about what is like, I cannot wait to have a morning coffee.
I'm the same.
And
I used to be the same.
Yeah, well, and it's like this thing. So we figured out, how do we connect this like deep love of coffee that so many people have, and how do we communicate that using humor, using story, using beautiful imagery? How do we actually connect with people on this universal experience that is people enjoying coffee? And also, I think being funny and relatable was a big part of how that really grew.
So you naturally found acquired these customers, right? Because you got the coffee roaster, then the word of mouth, and then everyone started coming to you.
Yeah.
At what stage did you realize, hey, like, I suck at sales. You've obviously very good at marketing, just naturally, but obviously sales is a different beast.
Yes.
At what stage did you realize, like, hey, I suck at this and I need to get better at this?
I think very quickly.
Yeah.
So very quickly I realized actually what would come up for me was, again, I'm 23, started this business, very green and very good at what I did, but so fresh and like kind of naive about business. And so I would look at people who I thought, oh, they're not any better than me. And they're not any more creative. They're not doing anything better. Sometimes I'd look at them and be like, they're not doing it nearly as good as me, but they're landing these clients that I could have got. And that was when I realized, okay, there's something happening here. It's not just enough to have the skill. It's not enough to be talented. You actually have to learn the art of selling and communicating your value. And so everything in me resisted selling. I'm a creative. I'm like, the fear of rejection, tick, like got that. So like everything in me was like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be whatever. But then I also I also want to make money. And so I have to figure out, how do I sell in a way that feels authentic, in a way that doesn't feel like I'm losing my soul in the process. And so now I coach all of our clients on how to sell, because I love selling, because I think it's like a fun game, and we can make it our own, and there's so many people that are so bad at selling. And so it doesn't take much to make your sales process feel really considerate and feel really like actually we're just taking people by the hand and helping them to make a decision that's right for them. And I think that frame helped me a lot when I learned how to sell. I invested a lot of money also in learning how to sell. But once I figured out, okay, there's a process, there's a framework, there's a script, and then within that, I've got to inject my personality. I've got to put my humanness in that. And I remember actually one of my mentors really early on, he said to me, he specifically was helping me with sales. And he said, Laura, you are a very, very kind person, and you're not a pushy person. You are never going to be salesy. And he was like, it's just impossible for you. So just don't even worry about it. What you need to worry about is being clear, because you are burying the offer. You're not asking for the sale. You need to work on, how do I confidently ask for the sale, and how do I be clear? Like, salesy's way over here. You don't even need to worry about getting there. You need to work on, how do I be assertive? How do I be clear? Yeah.
I think you've answered my next question. I was going to ask, like, creatives are probably allergic to sales, like that sleazy sales person or mentality. And so is that how you cut through and appeal to them, just by being clear? Because like, I would assume like they would have their guard up a bit.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about creatives too is that, again, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for all creatives, but a lot of creatives struggle with people pleasing. And so they've probably found themselves in a position where they wanted to say no, but they said yes.
Yeah.
And so they're in a sales conversation really wanting to say no, and they didn't know how to. And all of a sudden they're signed up to a 36-month thing that they're like, damn it, how did I get here? And so I think the framing for me has always been, I want you to make the right call for you, and I'm going to speak with you about what you want and what's possible for you. And I'm going to stretch what is actually possible for you, because so many creatives have goals that are tiny and they need to expand their thinking of what's possible. So my phase is, my process is, I'm going to show you what's possible. We're going to have a conversation about what you want. Then we're going to have a conversation about, well, what's happening right now? What's keeping you stuck? What are the roadblocks for you? And then we're going to go, okay, cool. You have a decision to make. Are you going to, let's assume we're the right fit.
Yeah.
I help people like you. If I don't help you, I won't offer it to you. But let's assume at this point we're the right fit. My next step is to go, okay, cool. You want this future over here, and this is your current reality. You have a choice. Either you stay in your current reality or you step into your future. Like
like it.
which one feels more risky? Because the reality is, and I think this is what people don't get, is that there is a risk in staying stuck.
Correct.
There is also a risk in moving forward, in stepping into something new. And like for me, I'm just going, okay, how can I minimize the risk for them so they can make the right decision for them? And also, how can I hold up a mirror and say, listen, Ben, you've told me that you really want this, and you've told me how much it means to you, and you've also told me what's happening right now and how much it sucks. Would you like my help? And it's
You are a savage at sales.
I think maybe also because I'm like blonde and nice.
I like it.
Blonde and nice, and you can kind of be a bit more. I had to learn to be quite direct, and my husband, who you know, he's very direct, and so he often says to me, he's like, Laura, you've got to remember that there's because I've built a personal brand where people feel quite connected to me. I can be a bit more direct and a bit more like, here's the deal, and in my personal life, I'm maybe not like that. Yeah. But in business, I'm like, well, listen, we've got to what are we doing?
What are we doing? Do you treat sales like art in the sense of, and let me give, I see sales like art. Yeah. Like it's this process you go through, and it's a creative process you go through, like with communication, refining your script, observing body language, like the tonality. There's so much to it, and I feel like the copy. And so I look at it like art, and I always have, and I feel like it's just an ongoing process of constantly just getting better and learning.
And you're really good at being curious about, okay, that didn't work. What happened? And I think that is why you're so successful too, because it seems like you hold it out here and you go, okay, let's look at the data, let's look at the numbers, let's look at what worked. And so it's like there's artistry, but there also is the removing of some of the emotion around, they didn't like my art. I think for a lot of creatives, they are like so afraid of rejection, so afraid of someone saying no, so afraid to put themselves out there that when they finally do and someone does say no, it can really knock their confidence. And so I'm also teaching my clients, I'm like, okay, if you get 100% conversion rate, it's actually not good. It means that you need to increase your prices. It means that you're saying yes to everyone. So we actually need to chase the no's and be okay with getting no and welcome the no's. And so that framing has helped a lot of them to go, okay, it's not a rejection of me if someone says no to my offer. And so, and to your question around selling is an art, I totally agree. I think, and I notice it a lot when I'm doing workshops or webinars where I will move into a pitch, especially in a group setting. If I'm pitching the service in a group setting, I am like eyeballing the room to be like, okay, who wants something better than what your current situation is? And I think it's just so fun to be able to really show people a pathway forward and to go, what story do I need to tell to connect with them? What words do I need to use? What pictures do I need them to see so they can make a decision? And it's never I'm going to push you and what bonuses do I need to have and what things do I need to it's expiring in 2 hours. I don't really care about that. It's more about what do they need to know to internally feel like this is the right next step for me. And that part is the art form of okay, what do I need to say? What space do I need to allow for them to make that decision themselves?
You know, looking back retrospectively on when I got started with my first business, I didn't understand sales and I didn't understand marketing.
Yep.
I'd never sold before and I just didn't understand marketing, right? So I feel like obviously you're helping creators with that, right? But I feel like most people getting into business suck at that.
Yep.
And once you unlock even just one of those,
yes.
If you unlock marketing and you start getting packed with leads and you can't sell, you're fucked. And then if you're great at sales and you can't then get the lead. So I feel like, but if you unlock both of those,
Yes.
it's a checkmate, don't you think?
100%. And Jack Delosa, who you've had him on
Yeah.
this podcast, he talks about, he always said, and he was like one of my really first ever mentors. I couldn't afford to be in his program, and I lied to get into his program. Anyway, he was one of like my early mentors who helped with marketing and sales. And he was like, the biggest growth engines in your business are marketing and sales. It doesn't matter if you have the best operations. It doesn't matter if you have the best offer. It doesn't matter if you have the best customer support team. No one cares if they don't know who you are and if you haven't actually invited them to work with you and you can't convert them. And so as the founder and the business owner, the two hats that we must wear are marketing and sales. And if you are not good at marketing and sales, that's okay. They are skills. And I think people get really muddled when they think, oh, Ben's just naturally good at selling. Oh, he's naturally good at marketing. And it's like, no. You had to learn. They're skills. And some people, it comes more naturally too. But at the end of the day, it is a skill, and it's a skill you can learn.
So true. Like looking at you didn't come from a sales background. You had to learn. I didn't come from a sales background. I had to learn. And if I look at the top like few percent of the students in my community that crush it, they didn't come from a sales background either. None of them really had sold. So it's interesting how you can, as you said, like it's a skill and you just got to decide you want to learn it.
Yeah, and I think it's such a fallacy, the like, oh, he's got the gift of the gab.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like, I don't know. I just think we've gone into this, a lot of people go into sales with fear. Maybe we've all had a bad sales experience, and we have an idea of what a salesperson is, and we overlay all of this emotion and all of these like beliefs and mindsets around, oh, sales is icky, sales is pushy. I cannot tell you how many times people come to me and they're like, I just don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. I'm like, who said it had to be like that?
Yeah.
And I understand that a lot of our experiences have been the pushy salesperson.
Yeah.
And so I think potentially the people who don't know how to sell end up being better salespeople because they're kind of going, I'm just going to help you make a decision. And I'm not going to be a jerk and sell you something you don't need.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell you something that doesn't work. Like in our industry, there are so many people selling stuff that does not work, that is not good.
True.
And so that's why even with my sales team, I'm like this week, we had so many wins. I had a client who came in, Rosie. She came in, she's a branding and graphic designer. She came in and she would have been earning, I don't know, $20K a month. She just had a $62K month.
Crazy.
And for her, it's like life-changing. And that's within a year of her joining us. And so like I'm sharing that with our sales team, being like, just know this actually works. Like what we are selling actually works. And I think that it gives people so much conviction of like, okay, this is actually changing people's lives. And I know that there are a lot of coaching programs that like unfortunately are not doing that.
Yeah.
And so I think we actually owe it to people to make the offer and to help them to make the decision that's right for them and to do it from a place of integrity and conviction. And we owe it to them to make the offer because they might say yes to someone who's not good.
Yes.
And so it's on us to be like, here's the deal. I really want this for you because here's what's possible for you.
Of course. You said the word conviction, right? I just want to double click into that. So I think like with sales reps, you know, there's a certain level of technical skill that you develop and you cultivate and, you know, you can handle objections and you follow a framework and you do whatever you do. But then you said something really interesting. You're like, okay, this Rosie, she's gone from 20K to 60.
Yeah, 62.
62. And then you're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Sales Rep or team, like, look at this. This is fucking amazing. Like, look at what we're doing. Like, it's incredible, right? And then you said the word, you know, conviction. I'm like, I feel like the salespeople, like, they need to have, in my opinion, like, as much conviction as the founder in what they're doing. And once they can, like, understand this customer success and really understand the impact of, like, what you're doing, that's how they start to really just sell effortlessly.
Yeah, and it's interesting as you scale, the sales team can get further and further from the core of it, right?
Yeah.
And from you as the founder. And so we have found that our best salespeople actually come from within our program.
Okay.
And that's or they've been a coach in our program, and because they just are like, oh my gosh, I talk to these people every week and I see the impact and I see what is possible for you and I believe in it, even if you don't believe it in yourself. Like, I believe in you and I believe that you can do this because I've seen it. And I'm curious, like, for you, as you've scaled your sales team, how do you keep the conviction there?
I think it's great that you. I was actually going to ask how you hire. So you're hiring from your customers.
Well,
typically,
yes,
Yeah.
that's what we've done in the past.
Smart.
I'm not sure how we'll do it in the future, but that's what's worked for us in the past. Yeah.
Really smart. We try to regularly encourage the team to go and find student success, like call students that you've maybe enrolled 6 months later that are doing well, learn about where they're up to. Like, you've got to get curious and learn about the student's success and see the impact that they're having now on their lives. And so it's just a mantra that we've just got around, like, go find it, go learn about it, like, saturate yourself in the student success, because it's pretty crazy what some of our students are doing. I'm like, learn about it, because, I mean, as you said, like Rosie, like, if she didn't come to you, the question is, like, how did they find out about it? Because, like, someone today might be having their best, like, someone today might have had their best day as one of your students. It's like, how can the team, like, learn about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And how do we, the big thing we're working on at the moment is, how do we codify that so that anytime there's a win that's shared, that one of our customer support team is, like, putting it in the sales channel, putting it in the marketing channel, so that we know, okay, cool, I've got stuff to share on our socials that's like, this person did this amazing thing. And I think the easier we can make it and the more front of mind, especially I think in general in our whole team in our business, the more we can connect people with, this is our mission, this is why we're doing this, and this is why it matters. It keeps everyone, like, locked in with why what they're doing actually matters, so that the customer support person understands, I'm helping them to win.
Yeah.
And I'm helping them to get results like Rosie. And I think it keeps everyone really tight and locked in on, this is why we're actually doing this.
I love that. Yeah, like our student success team just yesterday, someone posted in our group, like, a big win. And so she shared it with the sales team. But I kind of look at that as, like, a bit reactive, in the sense, like, the sales team have to kind of, like, react to that versus, like, go out and find it. So if you enrolled someone that you thought was a superstar, Mary, like 6 months ago, call her or message her and ask how she's going.
Yeah.
And then if she's not going, maybe, like, help her out, but, like, reach out to people, go outbound, and, like, actually put effort in to, like, learn about what's going on as well, you know?
Yeah. And it's such a delicate balance, isn't it? Because when I was selling, like, our program, when I was the main salesperson, the wins were so important, but if I heard of, because I was so also wearing all the hats, I was coaching, I was selling, I was doing the marketing, I was doing all the things, my view was probably not helpful, because I could see, oh, there has been that one win. Rosie had that amazing win, but there's 10 other people that I know needs, like, I know need some more help, or I know they've not quite cracked it yet, but they will. I know they will. But so, like, you have to really filter the information too. I remember we had to be conscious about getting our salespeople. I don't want them to know about churn.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to know about customers that they have signed who have been hard to deal with, or any of that stuff. We're just like, let's just keep you in the positive part, and let's keep you amped up and excited about the opportunity, and let our customer support team support the people who need to be supported. So it's this weird little dance of keeping their energy up as well.
So you're B2B, I'm B2C, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm in BizOp, which is different to you. Yeah. However, but, like, I always think that, like, not everyone's going to win. Yeah. And there's got to be, like, a recognition and acknowledgement around, like, that's just reality. Like, not everyone is going to kick ass. And so I always tell the sales team that, like, not everyone's going to make it.
Yeah.
And you've also got to tell them that as well. Like, not everyone's going to win. And so I just think understanding, like, hey, some people, it's like they've got to take accountability of their life, ownership of what their choices. And you've obviously got a formula. It works.
Yeah.
Like look at Rosie and look at everyone else. Like
Yeah.
they're kicking ass and everyone else has got that opportunity. And if they can't execute for whatever reason, like it's not your fault because there's a process that works. And so I just think it's also like there's that fine line as well around ownership, victim.
For sure. I really had to work on this. This was something that was really holding me back. And it was a couple of years ago. I recognized that I was taking responsibility for my clients' results. And so anyone that signed up, and it actually meant that we were capping our numbers because I could only really look after and be responsible for a certain number of clients. And so I was becoming a ceiling in our business. And I think that often happens. The ceiling becomes you, not the business itself. It's like you have to work through whatever the identity thing is at that time. And for me, at that point, the identity issue I had was I didn't want to let people down. What would it mean if someone didn't get the result? What would it mean about me? And it was ego, actually. It was people pleasing. It was me overinflating the responsibility that I had and the ownership that I had. And so I had to really work through, okay, I am not responsible for their results. And even saying it out loud feels like, oh, but you're a coach. You're supposed to be, you're supposed to be responsible and you're supposed to care about their results. And if they don't get the results, it's your fault. That was the story that was going in my head. And then I thought about, I was seeing a PT and I hate going to the gym. Like I like going to classes and that's what I do now. But going to the gym and just doing a workout really stressed me out because I would like go in and there's all these big dudes and I'd be like, how do I use these machines? Like, what do I do on these? Anyway, so I was seeing a PT and I was seeing her once a week and I wouldn't go to the gym any time outside of that one session. And so I'd catch up with her the following Monday and she'd be like, Laura, what did you do this week? And I'd be like, I did a Pilates class. Like I didn't do any, I didn't come to the gym because it stressed me out. And so I didn't really get results. And I would never, as the client, look at her and say, how dare you? You promised me a six-pack and I didn't get a six-pack. Like, I want my money back. I'd never do that because I know that she's the PT. Her responsibility isn't to do the sit-ups for me. Her responsibility is to give me the framework so that I can do the things. Yeah. And so it's the same in coaching. I say this to all of our clients when they join. I'm like, listen, like you've got to take extreme responsibility. We're going to give you the framework. We're going to give you the tools. We're going to give you everything that you need, but only you can do the sit-ups. Only you can do it. I can't do it for you. Your coaches can't do it for you. Like it's on you. And you can either view that as super empowering and like, cool, it's on me. I have the opportunity to do this. Or you can view that as that victim mindset of, well, I expected this to be easy and I expected this to be done for me and what am I going to do? So I think that framing for me has really helped with the division of responsibility. I'm going to do my bit. I'm going to be at the coaching calls. If you're not there, I can't coach you. Like I wish I could. I wish I were a magician that could do that, but I can't do that. So like really dividing up the responsibility has helped me to get over that head noise that I had.
You said the word ceiling before. I'm assuming you also went through a process where you became the bottleneck as well, where you were chief everything officer.
Yes, I've heard you say that before. Yeah. And I really, really like that. Yeah, I did. I have had that phase.
So you're growing your team now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're busy, which is great.
Yeah.
I guess at what point? So you started off, and Nath works with you, right, in the business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what would you say your role is in the company?
So I would say Nath will be as our business grows. Nath will be the CEO of the business, and I will be the talent.
Okay.
I'm like, I just want to show up and create. I want to be able to do things like this. I want to be able to write. I'm writing a book. And so I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to present and coach the clients, and that's kind of my magic spot. I love the marketing as well. So I think at the moment my role is I'm training our sales team, and I'm also looking after the marketing, and then I have a head coach, which is amazing. She's so brilliant. So it means that I can step back a little more from the coaching, but I still love doing trainings and all of that. I love doing that and presenting and teaching. So that's kind of like my spot at the moment.
And you're fortunate you've had Nath to
Yes.
to support
Yes.
with all back end. With the people, like with the clients that come to you, like these creatives, like I'm assuming they're probably wearing multiple hats, right? Trying to juggle it all.
100%. Yes. And I think I had this moment actually that kind of shows the juggling and the wearing of many hats. We had an event, and it was this sold out huge event. We were doing it online, in person. It was like really big, and it was a couple days out, and we had these tablecloths arrive, and they were in lilac. They were in my brand colors, and they were like beautiful. And they're really big because the tables are so big. And so I was like, okay, cool. We need to iron the tablecloths. Cool. I hate ironing. Like I will buy clothes that specifically I do not have to iron because I just find it annoying. Anyway, I was like, it's fine. I'll put on Seinfeld, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll iron the tablecloths. It's going to be easy. And Nath, being like, he's just wired so differently to me. He's just like, I feel like this isn't a good plan. Like you have so much on. We're about to do this huge event. And I was like, it's going to be fine. Anyway, I started ironing, and maybe about 20 minutes in, Nath popped his head into the living room and was like, how you going? And I was like, I was halfway through one tablecloth. I had so many more to go. And I was like, stuff this. I'm not doing it. I packed them all up and took them to a dry cleaner the next morning. And the dry cleaner charged me $10 per tablecloth to do it. And I was like, what was I thinking? Like, why was I ironing these tablecloths? It's crazy to me. It didn't make sense. But I had this aha moment where I was like, oh my goodness, how often in business are we ironing the tablecloths? Are we doing the thing that is like, oh, I can do it, so I should do it. Oh, it'll be easy. I'll just like do it, I'll do it while I'm at home. I'll do it while I'm watching a TV show. I'll do it because I've always done that. I've always worn all the hats. And it was a big level up for me to go, okay, where else am I ironing the tablecloths? Where else am I doing things that actually I need to let go of? I need to trust someone else to do it. And I think there are two big reasons that we don't let go. I think the first one is there's a value thing. So we go, okay, how much is my hourly rate worth? And so for me to spend 3 hours ironing those huge tablecloths, it's like, okay, that or $120. I'm going to do $120.
Yeah.
Like what? That's a no-brainer. So I think there's a value piece. I think there's a money mindset piece of like, well, okay, how do I feel about letting someone else do this? And I think I notice actually a lot for women around the home, they can go, oh, well, I have to be the one to clean my house. And you could be running $1 million business, but you're still cleaning your shower. And so it's like, okay, what is that? Is there a belief that we have that I can do it, so I should do it?
Yeah.
And it's crazy if I got help in that area. And then the second thing I think that comes up for people when they start to outsource is control.
Yeah.
Oh, they're never going to do it as good as me, so I'm just going to hold on to it a bit longer. And I see this so often with the people that we work with, and I'm sure with your guys as well. It's like you have to outsource before you're ready. You have to let go if you actually want to build something big.
I think delegation is like so important. Like
Yes.
as something just to acknowledge and understand and like appreciate. Because there's a book that I read which unlocked for me was Who Not How.
Yes.
Just so simple. Like not how am I going to do it? It's just who is doing it for me. And I've just adopted that mindset all the time. If there's something to do and it's not my highest and best use of time, it's not my zone, it's like I'm just working out who's doing it. It's all I'm thinking about. Like, and I think that it's like that mindset shift, isn't it?
Yeah. And I love that book because the title kind of says everything you need to know. You don't even really need to read the book. You just go, okay, cool, who, not how. I get it. Like, Totally. For me, that's been a big unlock of, especially as an overachiever and a people pleaser, they're going, oh, I could do it. I can do it. And I still struggle with this. I still have to go, okay, maybe someone else might actually step up if I let them.
Yeah.
And whenever I step in and get in the weeds, I'm actually kind of probably annoying them a little bit too, because they've got it. They actually have it. And if they don't have it, then I can support them to get it, And I think it's like a control thing. For me, definitely, it's like I want it to be done a certain way. Do I trust my team? Do I trust the people who I've hired or delegated to deliver the outcome? And I'm learning to go, I've hired brilliant people. They're amazing at what they do. They've got it. And I also have to chill.
Yeah, chill out.
Chill a bit. Yeah, totally.
Moving from 10K months to 100K plus months, this is a pretty broad question.
Yeah.
Like, what did you really have to, I guess, discover? What were the key things you had to really discover to move from that 10 to 100K plus a month?
Yeah, I think I remember I found a journal recently, and I'd written down a list of, this was when I was like learning how to sell, a list of businesses that I was going to cold call to work with. And then at the bottom of the page, I'd written, if I land these clients, we will hit 10K a month. And I came across it recently. It was from years and years ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy to me, because that was like the world's biggest goal. Like hitting 6 figures, hitting 10K a month for me when I started was like that's crazy. This is a real business, and it meant so much to me. And I think for a lot of people, hitting 10K a month is like such an important milestone, because you're going from 0 to 10 and you're 10xing your business. That little jump from 0 to 10, it's not little. And so for anyone who's watching this or listening to this, who's in that season where you're in that 0 to 10 jump, it's scary, and it requires you to take risks. It requires you to do the reps and to like just do a lot of work. What's interesting about the leap from 10K to 30K, let's say, it becomes, I feel like in every iteration of my business, there's been that idea of Marshall Goldsmith, what got you here won't get you there.
Yeah.
And so 10K to 30K is really about, okay, I can't do all the things anymore.
Yeah.
I need to build systems. I probably need some support. I need some people to help me. 0 to 10, you can probably do it on your own. But 10 to 30, that's when it's like, okay, I got to build systems. I've actually got to make this a real business, not just I'm not a freelancer anymore kind of vibe. And so it's about systems. It's about team at that level. And then 30 to 100 for me was about leadership. It was about identity, and it was really about building an authority brand. And so when we skyrocketed from, we were stuck around 40K months. Within, I think that was in October, we maybe did 40K a month. By December, we were at 130.
Wow.
The thing that unlocked it was hiring a salesperson, and it was my identity leveling up. I had to go, all right, for us to go from 40K to 130 in a couple of months, that means more clients. That means I've got to get over my head noise about being responsible for everyone.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's tactical things. Yes, the hire is important, but there's also internal shifts that needed to happen in that 30 to 100K leap that I don't think my business would have gotten there if I hadn't have done that work on people pleasing, responsibility, letting go of some of that control and stepping into more of a leadership role in the business.
Did you need to move through like mindset, like blocks around like your belief systems around like, did you feel like when you're at 40K, like did you feel like you could like get to 100K? Like did you actually believe that was possible?
I think I believed it was possible because I was around people who were doing it.
Okay.
So I think there's also like proximity. I think proximity to people who are doing what you want to do, who are further along than you. I think that's so important. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, cool. We want to run an 8-figure business.
Yeah.
And so, okay, like that feels scary to me. That feels like a leap to me. But I'm around people who are doing it, like yourself. I'm like, okay, cool. It's possible. So the proximity has helped me with my belief that it's possible. But the other thing that maybe the head noise around going from 40 to 100 was like 40K was hard. Like it was hard, and it was me doing all the things. And I didn't have capacity to do sales calls because I was so busy in the delivery. So it meant that we couldn't get more sales.
Yeah.
It was just like really practical. It was like,
Yeah.
look at your calendar. You can only do 2 calls a week. So
Yeah, limited.
you can't actually land more clients. So there was like the practical thing, but then there was, okay, well, what does it mean if I don't sell them into it? Are they going to buy if it's not me on the call?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What happens if making money actually gets easier?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And not coming from money, coming from you have to work to earn, like really like a high achieving family. Like I really had to go, okay, this feels kind of easy, and I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because it's become easier.
Interesting.
And so I had to work through the mindset of, okay, does making money have to be hard?
I love that.
It's been a journey of figuring out, okay, what is that value and what's that belief I have about money?
Where are you up to with that now, the answer to that question?
I think I'm pretty well through that now, which is great. If I'm being honest, what's the thing that I'm working on at the moment? There's always something. I think the thing that I'm working on at the moment is delegating responsibility and letting go of responsibility and control. I think that's my next thing that I'm going to have to level up.
That's an interesting one. You've said the word mentors a few times.
Yes.
Like even with sales, and I know that we're in a group at the moment together, a mastermind. Like how impactful, I guess, how important has mentors been, in your journey since you've been, running a business?
Oh my gosh, it's been like so essential. And I think part of the reason why I love doing coaching and like I love the work that we do with our clients is because I know for me it was such an unlock when I worked with a mentor who had done the thing that I want to do. And so for anyone listening who you haven't found your people yet, you haven't found your tribe, you haven't found a coach or a mentor who's done the thing that you want to do, I want to encourage you to find someone who is the real deal, who can actually go, hey, this is what I've done. I can show you the path if you like. And I feel like for me, I've invested in a lot of things, and most of them are good. Some of them are great, and some of them are really bad. And so I think it's just going, okay, like, has this person done what I want to do? And that's my litmus test of, okay, who should I work with next? And probably the next thing I'll be working on is, all right, has this person written a best-selling book? Okay, I'm going to find that person. I'm going to work with them. And so it's like, whatever the next part of your journey is, who is the person who's the best at that, who's done it, and can you pay them?
Can you pay them? Yeah. Interesting when you said you've turned up, like there's been some shit experiences. I mean, because when I hear that, I'm like, there's such a great learning in that.
Yes.
Because you're like, I wasn't discerning enough. Like I just didn't do my research properly. Their marketing was great and I just got misled. Like, so I think there's just that whole journey of, like, I'm big into self-development. I think there's some people I meet who are very successful who've never done it. And I'm just like, wow, like never had a coach. Like I've got friends who've sold big companies. They've never had a coach. I'm just like, wow. Like, so it's kind of like there's two sides to that coin. There's people who've done really well without a coach. And then I've seen so many people who they just can't live without it. And
well, actually one thing I totally agree with that. And I think one thing would like to get better at is I think we can really optimize our business and our work. I'd actually like to get better at optimizing more of my life. And so going, okay, who has a really awesome marriage that I'd like to be around? Who has like when we have kids, who do we know that does family really well that I want to kind of model this the way we do it after? And so I want to get a bit better at not just like optimizing and improving and developing the business, but also personally going, okay, what would happen if I improved my marriage by 10%?
That's
or
great.
like
I love
whatever
that.
it is. I don't know. I feel like, and I don't know what the answer to that is, but I would like to get better at, improving in the personal development areas.
Okay. You've built great personal brand. Yeah. How long has that taken you?
So I switched to a personal brand in 2023.
Okay.
So it's probably taken off in the last 18 months to 2 years.
Why do you think it took off? If you had to, like, let's just say you were being like, let's say you were coming in to critique your stuff, and there's a bit of bias there because it's your stuff. But let's say you're coming in to look at it all and to assess, like, hey, like, why did it just like go boom, or why did it like what would you like isolate it down to?
Okay. I am biased because I'm a creative and I look at the visual. I think the visual element of branding is super underrated.
Okay.
I feel like there's so much noise with AI, with content, with every man and his dog has a like platform, has an online presence, is a content creator or whatever that means. So I think the visual element is super important because like 80% of our communication is nonverbal. So what happens visually is important. And in my view, it's definitely worth investing in. So when someone sees my branding, they see like lime green and it's like very striking. It's very bold and memorable. It's repeatable. We just keep smashing out the core colors of our branding. And I think the visual is quite important. Second thing is being really clear on niche. When I moved into a personal brand, that's when I really zeroed in on working. I was always working with creatives, but I think I communicated it better. So that's when we zeroed in and it was like, all right, we only work with creatives. We do not work with Pilates studios. We do not work with product businesses. We do not work with like XYZ. This is our person. And as soon as we did that, as is what happens when you niche down, you worry that you're going to exclude people, that you're going to miss out. There's a little bit of FOMO of like, oh, but what if we lose money? What if we lose clients? What happens? And as soon as we narrowed, we got more clients. It was like, I think it's the founder of Dermalogica says you've got to be prepared to piss off the 80% to be a hero to the 20%. And so I think we've got to go, all right, who am I for? Who is my person? Who is not my person? And a lot of the time when we define our niche, we actually define it by going, this is who I don't want to work with, or this is who I'm not amazing at helping. And this is who I'm really, really freaking good at helping. And so niche was super important. And then I think the third piece of personal brand is it's actually got to be personal. Like you actually have to show who you are. You have to share your perspective. You have to show your weirdness and your quirks and not be afraid to share your hot takes, your perspective, and maybe your contrarian views on things. That's something that I've noticed even recently. This how-to content of like, here's how to grow a business in 10 steps or whatever. That stuff just doesn't work anymore.
Yes.
No one cares about it.
Agreed.
Like, it's like, oh, did ChatGPT write that? I could probably just get that by just asking ChatGPT. Like, it doesn't feel, it's not connecting anymore. It used to work. 2022, that was the like golden age of that. Now it's how I. So how I helped Rosie hit 62K this month, or how I think about personal branding in 2025. And so it's actually the same content, but the hook is slightly different. It's like more about my personal view, my personal take, my personal experience. And that's what a personal brand actually requires. It requires you to have a personality, to share your thoughts and beliefs and opinions. And for a long time, I shied away from the opinionated stuff because I felt like, oh, what if people disagree with me? And again, that people pleaser of what happens if they don't like me? But I'd rather people love me than be indifferent to me. And so the more personality we can infuse, it's going to make the right people love you and the wrong people go, I'm not sure about you, or I hate you.
Yeah.
And that's actually better than indifference, especially in the world of content right now.
Are you, with your clients or the creatives, like do you, outside of obviously sales and marketing, but I mean in terms of branding, specifically personal branding, is that something big that you encourage them all to lean into?
It depends. Like, I will not say that every single person should have a personal brand. I think for some agencies, it makes sense to just keep it under for a long time, I just operated under my agency name. But it made sense for me to switch to a personal brand because I was delivering coaching. It kind of made sense. So for me, there's not a one size fits all. I do think, regardless of whether you're a company brand or a personal brand, I do think there needs to be a presence of you.
Yeah.
And especially for creatives, the reason someone's working with you is like 80% because they like you and they feel like they understand you, your style, your vibe, they connect with you. And so I think for a lot of businesses, the reason people buy from you is like your service can be like 99% the same as someone else.
Yeah.
But if they connect with you and you've got that 1% edge, they're going to choose you over someone else. So
Agree.
I think you need to infuse who you are into your brand, but you don't necessarily have to be Ben Handler.
Yeah.
You can still be a company brand and see success.
I interviewed Dane, as you know,
Love Dane.
recently.
Yeah.
And interesting, when I didn't understand this until I unpacked it with him. So the agency world, very legacy, like, I think he used the example like Arnott's, like they know who they go to, like they just call up that agency that they've been going to for 36 years. So that agency is not doing any prospecting, no outbound, like they just have their legacy clients coming. So it's very dinosaur. So the way that he cut through was through his brand.
Yes.
And then giving away educational content, like educational resource, like giving away stuff. And I think where I'm getting at is that I feel like, I don't know, I want to get your opinion on this, but I don't think everyone needs a personal brand, but I think you can have an unfair competitive advantage if you embrace it. And like you 100%. Said, those like be authentic and show those, with the weirdness stuff, like just be you. And I feel like you'll get ahead like that, right? Like, what do you think about that?
The amount of people who come to a sales call with us and say, our sales team will ask, like, what made you reach out? And they will be like, oh, I saw Laura online and I just liked her vibe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what dis? Like, what does that mean? What does vibe mean? And I think so much that is unaccounted for in how we actually land clients is in that vibe. And personal brand to me has been the big thing that kind of added fuel to that, because people felt like, oh, I'm talking to Laura. I can see that it's you. I know your name. I know who you are. And I think for us, at least, when we moved from our agency name to personal brand, it was like rocket fuel in our business. So 100% I do see that you have like an unfair advantage if you show up and show who you are.
Last question. If Instagram disappeared tomorrow.
It makes me sweaty.
What would you do to pivot? Because you're very Instagram focused, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on TikTok?
I am on TikTok, but I don't.
Okay.
I don't do the TikToking.
Okay, you don't do the TikToking. Well, you're very prevalent on Insta.
Instagram is big.
Like if it disappeared, like what would you do?
I often think about this, and I think I would start my audience again from scratch and build it with so much specificity, like so make it so narrow, make it so clear. Okay, this is what I'm about. If you're about the same thing, come join me. And I think I would start by just building an email list. I would figure out how to get people. I'm assuming that other social media platforms still exist. I would double down on YouTube for sure. And I would double down on email list. And that would be where I'd drive everything. I'm also like, I think that you can do a lot with a micro list. And so you don't need 70,000 or 100,000 people to know about you. You actually don't need that many people. So I would just really focus on, okay, let's go for quality, not quantity, and let's build it from the ground up exactly how I want it. And let's get so laser focused on who it's for, what the outcome is, why they should listen to me. And and I'd probably do a lot. I'd probably shoot content every single day. If my Instagram disappeared, I think I would be posting videos every single day. I'd be like, right, how do I build this?
You would crush YouTube. Are you on YouTube?
We are. I shouldn't say we're not. We are, but it's a different landscape. It's such a different game to Instagram, and so I think I've got to just get my head in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually interviewing a dude after this who's a student of my program who's crushed it on YouTube. His whole business is YouTube. Like it started off as YouTube. I'm going to learn more about it, but it's interesting like how people just choose a platform like your Instagram, and they just build their whole fucking business.
Yeah, and I will say for anyone listening too, like we focus solely on Instagram and email list for probably up until the beginning of this year. This year, I started to look at, okay, maybe it's time to look at LinkedIn and YouTube. But prior to that, we were just so focused on one thing, and I think it's really good to double down on one thing. And then it gets to a point where you go, okay, cool, we could probably diversify a little and start playing in different arenas.
Totally agree with that. Like if I look at people we know, like Matt, like LinkedIn guy, like everyone becomes like an expert on one platform.
Yes.
And then you're right, they spread.
Yeah, 100%.
Laura, thank you.
Pleasure. This is so fun.
You've nailed it. I'm inspired. I love how I love speaking to people in these quirky niches. I just like, 'cause I'm in a pretty specific niche, but I love speaking to people who just done really well, built cool things, and now they're in niches. So congrats.
Thank you, my friend.
Cheers.
Pleasure.